Well, while we were here in Chickasha, we thought we'd have Al give us some tips on how to stake trees. And Al, first off, why would a person want to stake a tree?
Well, Brenda, the main reason to stake a tree is to hold it up and keep it from falling over. This tree here, you can see, has a very full canopy on it. It was planted this April, and the root system on this tree, even though it's about a 3-inch caliper trunk in diameter, the root system is sitting in about only an 18-inch ball. And so we have a very small root system, but we have a large canopy. And with our winds, it makes it very easy for this tree to catch the wind and blow over. So we want to stake this to hold this up and to allow time for those roots to be stable and to grow into the soil around there. By staking, we keep the tree from falling over, of course, and damaging the top part, but we also allow those roots to get established down below.
Okay. Well, this is the good side of staking, but there can be some drawbacks to staking. What are those?
Well, the biggest drawback is that people stake a tree and then walk away from it and forget it. And if you take a look at this webbing that we have right here, you can see that it's fairly wide, but the old type system of staking was just to use a rope, and it's fairly narrow. Or a lot of times people would use wires inside garden hoses. Well, that produced a very narrow point of contact on the tree, and over time that tree could actually grow over that rope or wire, and then it would girdle the tree. The person would come out and take a look at the tree after 4 or 5 years and notice that it was changing color or dying back, and no disease or insect problems could be identified, and then they'd start looking at where the staking material was tied on, and there'd be a big bulge in the tree, and the material would be actually inside the tree at that point and girdling it.
Okay. Well, in addition to girdling the tree, are there some other problems that can occur?
Well, the big thing is, even if you do take it off, if you use something real narrow like rope or wire, it can sit there and rub on the tree and actually cut the tree and cut the growing cambium layer that we have so close to the surface on a young tree. What we've done here is that we've come in with this webbing, and it's wider. Instead of having a very narrow point of contact like we have with this rope, we've dispersed the contact on this tree over about a 2 to 2.5 inch space. And you can see, if I pull this back, that the bark is not damaged at all. It's a little off color, but actually it's in very, very good shape. And we can get even wider webbing. This is closer to 1.5 inches that can be mounted on there and hold the tree in place.
Now, this is a good system, and you actually did this yourself. And someone could do this at home, couldn't they?
Yeah, this is real easy to do. Folks just need to go ahead and purchase a grommet kit, which can be purchased at almost any hardware store. And the other thing that they'll find at hardware store is nylon strapping, and this is a 3/4 inch to a 1 inch strapping, and this is about 1.5 inches. And you can buy that, and then with the grommet kit, put a grommet at the end of the strapping, wrap it around here, and then use a piece of rope to tie that off to a stake. This piece here, we've found that if you go about 18 inches, it makes it real handy. These are a little bit small. You can see they're kind of tight. They were only 12 inches long, so, but with some 18-inch webbing, you can do a real good job.
Okay. Now, one of the final things with staking trees is removal of the stakes, and why should you remove them?
Well, we only want to leave the strapping on as long as necessary in order to hold the tree up. We want to remove the strapping and let this tree flex, because that will help it build a much stronger trunk. If you ever see a trunk that has a nice flare in from the outside, that's a tree that's been allowed to move in the wind, and it will. There's hormones produced down here at the base that will thicken and strengthen up that tree. So for this tree here, we put it in April, and we've staked it through this first year. We'll probably go ahead and leave the staking, or the strapping on up through about July 1st of next year, and that will get us through the next real stormy period that we have here in Oklahoma. Now if we had planted this tree in the fall, we might stake it through the fall and the winter, and then look at removing the material again on July 1st. But it would only be on there about 9 months, whereas this tree will have its material on for about a year and 3 months.
Okay. So basically the thing for people to remember is it's just to give the tree a chance to establish roots, and then the tree should be on its own.
That's right.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for explaining this to us, Al.
You're welcome, Brenda.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.